Lewis.
And this is Marjorie Lewis. And we'd like to welcome you to Apple Blossom Festival Grand Feature Parade. And we are very delighted to have with us today a guest commentator. His name is Tim Montgomery. He is from Lynchburg. He is a senior at the University of Tennessee, and he is an assistant to one of the judges who has come to judge the bands in last night's and today's parades. We're very glad to have Tim with us because he's going to be able to give us some expert commentary on the bands as they pass us. Tim?
Thank you, Marjorie. It's a pleasure to be here. I hope that I can enlighten you as to what to look for in band judging and what really makes the best band what it is, and maybe just the average band what it is.
Did you see the parade last night?
Yes, I did.
What in general, what are your impressions of the caliber of bands we had?
I thought the caliber was fairly high. I was quite impressed with some junior high school bands.
You know, at the end of the parade, there were two junior high school bands. I don't remember their names. One had the chimes they were carrying.
Right.
I thought it was as good as any senior high school band. Not as good as any, but as good as many senior high school bands.
Definitely. They showed a lot of class, a lot of pride, and they certainly knew what they were doing.
Well, I wanted to review who the judges are, and perhaps you can do that for us, and what the categories we have. Could you tell us who the judges are
Certainly.
today?
The music judge is Michael Davis from the James Madison University. He's the marching band director there. The general effects judge is James Lunsford, and he's the music supervisor for Fairfax County. The marching judge is Thomas E. Bates. He's a Shenandoah College and Conservatory of Music faculty person. The featured twirlers and twirling groups judge will be judged by Kevin McBee. She's a national grand champion twirler from Martinsburg, West Virginia. Drum majors and color guard judge is Dennis Carroll. He's the drum major with the U.S. Marine Band from Washington, D.C. Rifles and sabers are Neil Hayworth, band director at Easy Glass High School from Lynchburg, Virginia. The drill team judge, Diane Stout, former member of the Baltimore Colts drill team. And the flag corps judge is Shirley Eppard, registered baton twirling judge.
Now, the judges look in three categories when they judge these bands. Can you tell us what they are and what they count?
Well, one of the judges will be judging general effect, one will be judging music, and one will be judging marching. Now, these scores are...
will, of course, be the Lions Club banner. The Lions Club has coordinated and sponsored the Grand Feature Parade for 37 years. And the parade always begins with that Lions Club banner to designate their participation in the parade.
We were talking earlier when we were on live for the Winchester audience to Tim Mahoney, our guest commentator for the day, who is a senior at the University of Tennessee and an assistant to one of the judges who is here in Winchester today judging the bands in the Firemen's and Grand Features parades. Tim was just explaining to us there are three areas in which the bands are judged. They are general effect, music, and marching. 8 judges participate in the judging of the two parades, and each group of marchers is divided up as follows so that all the bands are not judged in the same way. There are high school bands up through 60 pieces, high school bands 61 through 85 pieces, and high school bands more than 86 instruments. There are college bands, which is a new category, military school bands, and special music corps. Talk a little bit about our opening band here and then continue further with this comment.
Well, before the opening band, we had the University of Massachusetts Police Department Color Guard, which was made up of members from that department. The University of Massachusetts stationed on the Amherst campus of the university.
Of course, all of the local people here in Winchester will recognize the John Handley High School Band, which is leading off the parade. It is not a competing band, as of course none of the local bands compete in the parades, but are always invited to march. Handley's band is being headed off by the pom-pom girls in their maroon and white pom-poms. Very glad, I'm sure, to see at least a little bit of sun today after last night's rain.
Drum majors Doug Joyner and Brian Carr for the Handley High School Band. Friendly Band has come to a momentary halt in front of our vantage point. It's about to move off. Behind it, we have one of the many official cars we will see in the parade today. Most of the official cars will be antique cars. This is a 1914 Model T touring car, and riding it is the president of the Shenandoah Apple Blossom Festival, James R. Wilkins, Jr. And with President Wilkins, we have Margie?
No, I'm not with President Wilkins.
No, we have, I wonder, are those his children? I don't recognize the...
Yes, I think one of his children at least.
And the other is...
Yes, Elizabeth and Richie are there with him.
There's another non-Wilkins child in the car.
I think that might be a nephew or a niece.
The other local band that always participates in the parades is the James Wood High School Marching Band. Also a non-competitive band. One of the things that the directors of these bands find helpful are the comments that the judges write. And last year there were 6 parade judges, and they completed 898 judging sheets, and each sheet had individually written comments. Tim, what kind of comments would these be?
Well, some of the comments could be comments that are good for the band, such as they have good lines, they have shown a lot of esprit de corps, which is spirit, pride. They pick up their knees, they're very well uniformed. They just overall look very good. Then there are also comments that are aimed to help the band and might be somewhat critical, but critical in the sense that they won't make mistakes the second time around. They practice on it. Next time they come next year, they won't make the same mistakes.
Marching band.
We were talking earlier with Tim about the different areas in which a band is judged. Would you like to go over that again, Tim?
Certainly, Marjorie. The bands are judged on general effect, which is 25% of the overall band score, music, which is 40%, and marching, which is 35%. There are also judges that judge majorettes, flags, rifles, Rossi, whatever the band also brings along with it. That's a separate score, and awards are given separately for that. The judges are, the music judge is Michael Davis. He's a marching band director for James Madison University. General effects judge is James Lunsford, music supervisor for Fairfax County. Marching judge is Thomas E. Bates from Shenandoah College and Conservatory.
We'll get to some of the other judges a little later on in the parade. I know that there are about 5 others who judge pom-pom girls and sabers and majorettes, as you said.
This is a 1926 Model T touring car, and riding in it is the director of the Grand Feature Parade, Richard Brown. He, of course, is a member of the Winchester Lions Club, the club that has been coordinating and sponsoring this parade for 37 years.
Here's a band that really looked very smart last night. It is the Spring Branch Senior High School Bruin Brigade from Houston, Texas, and boy do they look nifty with their blue and white parasols twirling. I've never seen a group with parasols. Tim, is this an unusual addition?
Yes, it is. It's also a very colorful and pretty addition, I might add.
Isn't that wonderful? And quite a routine they have there.
Yes, it is.
This band has taken many awards. Of course, most of them have been in Texas performances. They don't come east that often. Director Mildred Elkins, drum major Kim Webb.
Now, would they be judged in a twirling corps or with pom-pom girls, or how would you?
As a drill team.
As a drill team.
Yes.
What are some of the criteria for drill teams, Tim?
Well, it depends. Like you saw the umbrella squad go by there. It depends on, it might have just a hand squad. It really just depends. You have twirlers and pom-poms.
The Gregory Guard, Honorary Military Society at Virginia Tech, is a precision military rifle drill team formed in 1963 from the Virginia Tech Company of the Pershing Rifles. It's named after Sergeant Earl D. Gregory, the first native Virginian to be awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. It's run completely by cadet officers whom are elected by fellow members of the Guard.
Following them, John, is the Reading High School Marching Band from Reading, Pennsylvania, in their red, white, and black, another band which marched last night.
And it's the 1977 Sweepstakes Award Trophy winning band. The Reading High School Band returns as the honor band. They received the Sweepstakes Honor Trophy by winning first place in both the Firemen's and Grand Feature Parades last year for both the band and the majorette group. Now, they didn't do as well last night. The band only had 2 honors last night. Its drum major took 4th place in the category of drum majors, and the majorette group took 3rd place. So it had keen competition in the Firemen's Parade last night. But they are an award-winning band, and we can tell by the way they're marching and by the sound.
It certainly appears that they're doing better after I saw what they did yesterday. They must have gone out and practiced some this morning.
Last night's atmosphere was a little depressing. Here we've got some good shots of their very good-looking majorette team.
Gigi is the 20-year-old daughter of actor James Gardner of the famed TV Rockford Files, and she was crowned Queen Shenandoah yesterday on the steps of the Handley High School.
Gigi's wearing a dress with a pink underskirt with lots of white chiffon over it. All of the maids and little pages and little maids are in green dotted swift trimmed with lace. White picture hats, they all look very lovely.
Pages, Paul Huntsberry, John Skelly, Jamie Washington, David Soroji, Wesley Dick. The little maids, Elizabeth Hutchinson, Michelle Barnes, Susie Griffin, Carter Glaze, Katie Kendall.
The maids of honor are Beth Ann Collins, Catherine Whittam, Jean Dutton, and Laura Babb. All of them, I know, reveling in the sunshine we have today after yesterday's gloom.
The Bradford Area High School Marching Owls from Bradford, Pennsylvania, placed 4th place last night in band 61 through 85 instruments. Also, their pom-pom front placed 4th place in the drill team category. So we're watching an award-winning band next.
Tim, when you come to the drill teams and pom-poms and things like that, is precision the primary category or the criterion?
Well, it certainly helps, but you have to realize there's a lot of class involved. You know, a group can go down and be sort of slumped. They really have to have that back straight, look proud, show a lot of class. That to me is a big criteria, because if they're doing that, then sometimes you can just happen to miss a mistake or two because they do look so well.
So I'm gathering just from the few comments that you've been making with us so far this afternoon that spirit and verve is really one of the most important things, and that can carry you almost over a lot of humps.
Yes, it can. Although, you know, there's not a category to judge that, it certainly shows in the judging sometimes.
It infuses the others.
Exactly.
I see. And after all, that's what a band is supposed to do, is rev you up. Why bother then?
That's right. This year, the Marching Owls perform African Symphony and Barnum and Bailey's Favorites, Parade, and finale from Shostakovich's Fifth Symphony. Rocky, Let It Be, and to march.
The Bradford Area High School Marching Owls from Bradford, Pennsylvania, an award-winning band, and some award-winning young ladies are behind them. This is the first of the two floats to carry the princesses.
Yes, some 30 princesses, John, all dressed in long dresses, of course, of white dotted Swiss with pink. Well, actually, these dresses are just like the maids' dresses, only they're in pink. Pink dotted Swiss with square necklines, sleeveless, adorned with Cluny lace, making a pinafore look. They're all wearing straw picture hats with light pink satin ribbon bows and streamers.
Riding on this float are the two of the four local princesses, including Deborah Ann DeMott. She's a senior at Shenandoah College and Conservatory of Music, and the Handley High School princess, who is Elizabeth Joan Comstock, daughter of Dr. and Mrs. H.E. Comstock of Merriman's Lane. The George Washington High School Patriots come from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The Patriots say they've just begun their real interesting competition these past 3 years. They're right behind the princesses. The Patriots said this parade is the first real parade competition that they've been in. They say the school district of Philadelphia does not hold any contests among the 24 high schools in it, so that it's difficult for them to be invited to contests. Tim, how would you rate this band?
Well, there's a little bit of imprecision in the flags, but overall they're doing well. They might use a little more creativity in the flags as they're passing by me, but they certainly have a lot of them, don't they?
They do.
They really do. close to 50 of those flags, which is a large number for that kind of group.
This group also has a string section in the back. Is this common for bands to have string sections?
Not really, John. It's more of the GE factor that I was telling you about before today. It's something to add a little touch to the show.
These are, of course, gigantic eagles affixed to their backs. I commented last night when they passed that they look a little bit like the mummers, or look like reminiscent of mummers, which was a type of parade very popular in the Philadelphia area, and of course was part of the parade format many years ago for the Firemen's Parade, when local residents were invited to disguise themselves and revel in the streets along with the other marchers. Here are more princesses.
Also on this princesses float are the remainder of the local princesses. Catherine Ann Judy, who is a freshman at Lord Fairfax Community College, majoring in police science. And from James Wood High School, Teresa Lee Youngblood. She's the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Carroll Youngblood of Winchester.
Of course, the princesses are invited here from many schools throughout the Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Virginia area.
Star Wars is a popular piece played by the bands this year, and the Claymont High School Flaming Arrow Band is playing it. These rifles, by the way, took 4th place last night in the Firemen's Parade, so we're looking at some award-winning rifle maneuvers.
They're in purple velvet tunics, and the rest of the band in purple and gold for those of you who are watching on black and white.
This was the honor band for the 50th annual Shenandoah Apple Blossom Festival last year. And last year they took 1st place in the Firemen's Parade, 2nd place in the Grand Feature Parade, and 2nd place in the Field Show competition. You're watching the Grand Feature Parade, the highlight of the 51st annual Shenandoah Apple Blossom Festival. And we have here the sports marshal riding in a 1927 Packard Dual Cowl Phaeton. He's Jack Pardee. He was the featured speaker at this morning's sports breakfast. Pardee played 13 seasons in Los Angeles and came to the Redskins in a player trade-off in 1971.
Bobbing along behind him is the Hialeah Miami Lakes Trojan Band from Florida. And are they moving down the street?
They certainly are. They have a big sound. It's very important for a band that the first thing that they choose is music, because that can make or break it. Hit on the head there, maybe. Very careful.
They execute their moves with precision. That they do.
We've got another float coming up, John.
This is the Bank of Virginia Shenandoah float, Johnny Appleseed.
And it's carrying Miss Winchester Tri-County, who is Cindy Renner, and her 2 runner-ups, Tina Kipps and Vanessa Honesty. This, of course, is Johnny Appleseed, familiar to all Apple Country people. A large paper-mache Johnny Appleseed who's over 15 feet high and 18 feet from his backside to the sole of his shoes. He's leaning against a large tree stump from which the 2 runner-ups are swinging.
Johnny Appleseed, Bank of Virginia, Shenandoah.
Some more Trojans, this time the Muscle Shoals High School Band from Muscle Shoals, Alabama.
This band had been scheduled to march last night in the Firemen's Parade, but because so many of the musicians were sick, the director canceled out. But he's here today.
Certainly a long trip from down there up to here.
All the way from Alabama.
Well, I guess it'd be about 18 hours.
official car was supposed to have riding in it Senator Harry F. Byrd, but I do not see him.
Senator Byrd, of course, is the Queen's escort traditionally in the coronation ceremony.
However, he did not show up yesterday for the coronation of the Queen. Business in Washington prevented him from coming, and so he was replaced by Congressman J. Kenneth Robinson.
Well, from Tim's home state, we have a band from the home of Opryland.
Actually, that's where I go to school. My home state is Virginia right now.
Oh, yes. Well,
as I was saying at the beginning, music is the first criteria in a band coming to do any kind of performance or competition. Without the music, they can't do anything, obviously. And that's what bands are all about, is music.
that's right. And this is the McGavock Senior High School Marching Band from Nashville, of course, which is the home of Opryland. And there they are in red and white and blue, looking very good to me.
Parade, the Clydesdales.
8 tons of Clydesdales, we might say, John.
They make over 300 public appearances each year, and wherever they go, they get an applause, as the crowd now is applauding them.
Of course, tomorrow, it's Sunday in the Park, they will be featured in a demonstration at noon for those people who are watching live in Winchester.
You know, a single horse will consume as much as 25 to 30 quarts of feed in 2 daily meals, along with several pounds of carrots. Also, a team will eat as much as 50 to 60 pounds of hay a day.
On your screen now, the Skanks float, a large Cinderella theme float, 60 feet long as a matter of fact, featuring a carriage with animated wheels and 3 white horses. 6 mice are dancing around the pumpkin, and there's a 70-gallon pond with a real waterfall in the back, so when the float passes, perhaps our cameraman can swing around and give you a look at the rear of the float. There's, of course, the stone castle and animated clocks hanging, which creates a float 22 feet in width.
We might say this float, Marjorie, won the Golden Sweepstakes Award in the judging today. And the Golden Sweepstakes Award is the most outstanding overall entry in the parade. Notice that the second hand on the clock moves. I'm not sure the minute and hour hand move, but if you're watching your seconds, you can tell what's going on.
It's a very, very effective float, one of the largest in the parade, I assume.
Certainly a beautiful float.
The Golden Sweepstakes Award. There are many awards. As a matter of fact, in the float category, there are about 20 different awards given, so many of the floats will receive some. However, this is the most outstanding overall entry in the entire parade, the Golden Sweepstakes Award. I can see the water. Actually, the waterfall is in the front, Marjorie, underneath the little girl who's waving. It's not in the, there it is, right there. It's in the back front. It's such a big float, you're not sure where the back is.
Right. I think this float has been featured in the parade on occasion, decorated a little bit differently, and in past years I think I've seen ducks and goldfish in there. Tim, one question while the parade seems to be at a halt here in front of us. I've always been curious as to why a band lines itself up in terms of its instruments in different fashions. Some people put the percussion in behind, or in front, or in the middle, or you'll have a whole mass of brass in the front, or they'll put the woodwinds in the front. What is the reason for this?
Simply that if the music is chosen properly, that when the instruments pass in front of the judges or get close to the judges, those instruments will be featured, but still not overblowing, so that the total musical effect is much more than what it would normally be.
So will a band arrange itself differently depending on the music it plans to play?
Yes, sometimes it would.
Oh, that's very interesting.
This is the Quincy High School Marching President's Band. Last night in the Firemen's Parade, it placed third in the category 61 through 85 instruments.
They are, of course, from Quincy, Massachusetts, and they have won many other awards in their career. They have visited the Cotton Bowl Festival in Dallas. They were featured in the Patriots versus Buffalo Bills game and the Patriots versus Miami Dolphins game.
And of course, they're playing Shenandoah.
Tim, is it harder to march playing a piece that does not have a definite marching beat?
Oh, definitely. If you have something off the beat all the time, you really need to feel the beat when your foot hits the ground. And if that's not the case, then more often than not, you'll have people marching out of step, which is not very good and would hurt in the judging.
Riding this 1922 Marmon touring car is the Fireman's Marshal, Rex Allen Jr., and he led the world's largest fireman's parade last night. In the last 3 years, he's had 11 national chart records with Goodbye and Can You Hear Those Pioneers going into the top 10 nationally.
Following Rex Allen is the Bradley Central High School Marching Band from Cleveland, Tennessee, another Tennessee band. The South is getting very well represented this afternoon.
Big full sound. Certainly add to the show. It would add color, excitement, but they are a good-looking group. They certainly are.
They're wearing gold satin shirts with Spanish-style vests and pants, a kind of Spanish motif to the whole band, with the drum major, as you saw, in gaucho pants and boots. Here's another float, John.
This is from the Lions Club. This year, the Lions Club entry in the Miss Shenandoah Apple Blossom contest won and became Miss Shenandoah Apple Blossom. And of course, she's riding the float. She's Lisa Renee White, the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Fred C. White of Fox Drive here in Winchester. She's a student at Handley High School.
And John, this float won the Red Delicious Award. And that award is given for the most outstanding communities participation entry, professionally constructed.
The Lions.
Beautiful yellow hearts with, of course, the golden line.
These rifles last night took third place in the Firemen's Parade. The band itself took first place. Here's the best band last night.
East Syracuse, Manoa Spartan Band from East Syracuse, New York.
The color guard took first place last night, and drum major Dennis Eischen took first place. This, of course, is in the category band 61 through 85 instruments. Last night's award-winning band.
You can see the drum major marching backward there on your screen, the award-winning drum major. First place, Dennis Eichen.
Notice how they hold themselves. Very upright, lots of pride, lines very straight. Have a good sound right now as they pass in front of us. Good balanced sound. If you notice, the drum lines seem to have a lot more instruments in them lately.
Grand Piano and Furniture Company has this Spanish theme float.
There are two Spanish buildings connected by large overhead oak beams, as you can see there. They're covered with cement and house two large iron gates. Very effective. The center of this unit features a large papier-mâché bull, and there is a matador. The bull itself is snorting, if you can see that, trimmed with hundreds of red flowers. Beautiful girls on there. Of course, that music you hear is recorded bull ring music. There were live birds in the bird cages on the very front of that float, too. Very effective float.
And the award this float received was the Queen's Award, given to the float that has the best display of originality.
Gina Klauser, Roxanne McQuain, and Barbara Urena were on that float. Here we've got another band, John. The North Brunswick High School Band from Leland, North Carolina.
I believe they're playing music from Tommy Broadway. Now would be a good time to look at the uniformity of feet. That's one of the things judges look at. Are they taking proper sized steps within a group? Are they bouncing? When they march? They have to pick their feet up same height where they can get a good score.
Which means this band might lose a few points on that.
Possibly, yes. Something to be pointed out is that there are a couple different styles of marching nowadays. One style I call the Big Ten style, where it's knee lift all the time, marching type show. They do pictures on the field and such. There's a core style movement now that's hit the nation that primarily utilizes general effect after using and through the movements of the flags, rifles, and music. Somewhat different from the Big Ten style. But I might add, it's like comparing oranges and apples, you know, you really can't compare the two styles.
Another official car, John.
A 1931 Model A Ford Sports Roadster carrying D.D. Lewis, Dallas Cowboy linebacker, who participated in the sports breakfast this morning. Southeastern Conference Player of the Year and All-American at Mississippi State. Lewis was drafted in 1968 by the Dallas Cowboys and will be entering his 11th season with the team this fall.
Bobbing along, right after that is the Bobcat Marching Band from Cambridge, Ohio, another high-stepping and fast-moving band.
That's the Big Ten style there. I believe they're playing the Ohio State fight song there, if I'm not mistaken.
Performed in the Ohio State University Stadium for the Hall of Fame Ohio All-Star Game. And also, they were awarded a first-place trophy for their performance in the Sertoma Clubs of Ohio Christmas Parade held in Westerville, Ohio.
Here is the Shoe Center float. The Shoe Center presents the Trojan Horse. Shall we beware Greeks bearing gifts? The two little girls you saw carrying the banner in front of the float were Susan Serbaugh and Wendy Meadows. And there's some others riding on it: Donna Alamong, Melissa DeMoya, Debbie McIntyre, Lisa Breeden, Pam Taylor, and Sherry Holiday. This is a very large recreation of the Trojan Horse, as you can see.
Now, are there girls inside the horse that are hidden from us?
Well, now, that I can't tell you. This is the first float of this type ever constructed for the Apple Blossom Parade, and it is built of wood. Oh, look, yes, indeed, there are. Coming right out. These are the Greeks bearing gifts I was talking about, I guess. That's really very clever. It's put together, John, with pegs like the original horse was constructed. And, of course, the girls dressed in tunics, 15 feet high and built over its own wheelbase, 18 feet long. And if you recognize that music, it's from Ben-Hur.
That is a clever float idea. The girls can ride both in the float, hidden in the horse, and ride on the outside of it.
I must say that if I were judging, I think that would come very close to a winning float in terms of originality. I think that is, in fact, one of the most original ideas I've seen.
Trojan Horse, the Wilton Shoe Center float.
While we're waiting here for the next band to come up, I might mention that when music is being judged, it's judged on a number of different categories, like the precision of playing, good tone, big full sound. Intonation is certainly a big factor, whether a band gets a really high rating or maybe just an average rating.
We want to mention that the WVPT's Great TV Auction begins Sunday evening at 6 o'clock with the third annual Art and Antiques Night. And what we've heard from the staff, the merchandise this year is better than ever before. So be sure to tune in and help support public television in this area. WVPT's Great TV Auction.
This is the High School Clipper Band from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, the Portsmouth High School Band, of course, in orange and maroon.
Last night in the Firemen's Parade, this band took second place in the large band category. The Rifles took second place, and the Flags third place.
They certainly deserved it, John. They really did.
Two steps. This is a slow step.
Yes, it's a change of pace in the music. I think you'll notice that the flutes will start playing something any minute now. Piccolos, that is. There they go.
I think they deserved their prize last night of second place.
They certainly did. They showed a lot of class last night.
And that's what you would call a good general effect.
Good change of pace. The Flags certainly did an excellent job last night.
Riding in this 1930 Model A Ford Speedster is Congressman Harley O. Staggers from West Virginia. Congressman Staggers participates in firemen's parades and grand feature parades, and as long as I can remember, he's been a part of the festival.
Following Congressman Staggers is the Old Dominion Savings and Loan Association float with its theme Roman Holiday. Joan Ayler from Stephen City and Becky Starlipper from Winchester, Susan Shulin from Stephen City, and Jolie Miller from Woodstock are riding on this 35-foot float featuring 4 large horses pulling 2 chariots and drivers.
This float, Margie, was awarded the President's Award, which is given for Best Overall Professional Float, Winchester Frederick.
So there are large pillars there in the back. This is unique because of its many levels, and the stairway in the back of the back section of the float.
These marchers come from New York State. They're the Sherburne Earlville Band and Color Guard from Sherburne, New York.
They're the Marching Marauders Band, as a matter of fact, John. And they're clad in gaucho pants, another Spanish motif.
Tim, we were asking the question last night, rhetorically perhaps, and that is, when does a uniform become a costume with a band?
When does it become a costume? Well, I look at a marching band as just another form of entertainment. And if you look at that, I guess they're all costumes in a way. As a form of entertainment to excite you, to give you a lasting impression, just like a play or maybe a concert would. If you notice, they have a saber group here. Not too many of the groups had a saber squad. They would have been judged as a saber squad last night.
This band has appeared in the Niagara Blossom Festival Parade, Niagara Falls, Canada. Was the lead unit of the J.L. Hudson Thanksgiving Day Parade in Detroit, and appeared in the Holland Tulip Festival Parade, Holland, Michigan, and also the Carnation Festival Parade in Alliance, Ohio.
About 1/10 of the members of that school march in the band, John.
National Fruit Product Company, makers of White House apple products, has this float.
This is a pink and green float, and riding on it are Karen Baker, Michelle Hoddle, Louise Stevenson, Judy Mallon, and Wenda Orndorff. And their scow is standing in a basket. This float, John, won the Grand Marshal's Award, which, of course, is the most effective use of apple blossoms or apples, and that's quite natural to go to National Fruit Product Company.
The Ephrata High School Band from Ephrata, Pennsylvania. They've been playing Gonna Fly Now from Rocky. Of course, Ephrata is in the heart of Pennsylvania Dutch country. This is the Winchester Rotary Club float.
Some of the girls riding on this float, John, are Joan Umscheid. She's the daughter of Dr. and Mrs. Patrick Umscheid. Gretchen Toxopeus, the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Alan Toxopeus. Lynn Cronenberg, the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Jack Cronenberger. And Alicia Lewis, the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. John P. Lewis.
It's a Currier and Ives theme.
Riding behind two horses pulling a sleigh, animated horses.
This is the Franklin High School marching band from Somerset, New Jersey. New Jersey is a popular state to send us bands in this festival.
It certainly is. They certainly have a vast wealth of good bands, too, I've been noticing over the past weekend.
This band wearing revolutionary style uniforms in mustard gold and navy blue, looking very good.
That side-to-side action is something they only do intermittently.
Yes, it is.
This is the Honorable Alson H. Smith, representative from this area, the Virginia House of Delegates. Seems to me last night in the Fireman's Parade, he had the Lieutenant Governor, Chuck Robb, riding with him. Chuck Robb participated in the coronation ceremony, the Handley Bowl. However, he's by himself this evening. Al Smith. This is a 1914 Ford touring car he's riding. One of the reasons the festival went to antique cars is that, as you know, there are no more American cars made that are convertibles. With the advent of air conditioning, convertibles went out of style, and so the festival has gone to antique cars. From time to time, WVPT feels it necessary to seek out the public support to continue to provide programming that you want to see. And the Great TV Auction is a good way to show your support. Be sure to watch WVPT all week long and join in on the fun.
You're looking at the Glasgow High School Dragons from Newark, Delaware. And they have a unusual masked flag group there, sort of. Tim, did you see behind there?
Yes, I believe I can. That close to quarters for flags, so it's sort of hard to do any kind of routine too, you see.
This is the Glasgow High School Dragons from Newark, Delaware. This is the Grand Feature Parade, the highlight of the 51st Annual Shenandoah Apple Blossom Festival, and marching by us is the Glasgow High School Red Dragon Marching Band. A smartly dressed outfit. Does that help the points?
Yes, it does. A group that really looks good on the street here, on the field, is certainly going to make a better impression to the judges.
This is the Duff's Rebel Restaurant Cabaret Lounge float. A float is in the shape of piano. And there is the piano player, perhaps playing on larger keys than she is used to normally playing. The people riding the float are the Directory, a band from Buffalo, New York that play at the Cabaret Lounge.
Their members are Jerry Mosley, Frank Fittetti, Jeff Berger, and there's some girls riding on the float too, Pat Burke, Carla McCall, and Maria Summerland.
This float won the Jonathan Award.
And that's given for the float with the most outstanding live musical effects.
You see those piano keys going up and down there. They're actually moving up and down. You know, embarking on an acting career is never easy, and it was no exception for our Grand Marshal, who we'll see in a bit, Norman Fell. He plays Stanley Roper in Three's Company. When he moved to New York to pursue drama studies, he had to support himself in a variety of jobs, including that of a lunch counterman, a mail handler at the post office, and a camera store delivery boy.
When I asked our queen if she planned to go into the acting profession, she said no, she didn't. Of course, we know her father is a famous actor. And she said acting is just too hard. Her interest is more in the area of production, behind the scenes.
And when singer Dolly Parton, you know, she's participating in this year's festival. When she moved into her Nashville apartment after signing a contract with Monument Records, she was living on hot dog relish and mustard for 2 weeks.
Oh my.
We've got the Jordan Elbridge Marching Eagles passing by us now from Jordan, New York. They have a little more elaborate plume on their hats than some. Of course, the wind is helping, giving a very starry effect to those white plumes.
Tim, one thing I've noticed is that drum majors don't wear shakos as often as they used to. Is that going out of style, or am I just not noticing everything?
Sometimes they don't because it just gets in their way. It depends on their directing style. It depends on what they're going to be doing, how much they're going to be moving around.
On the subject of drum majors, how important are they to the band?
Aside from the band director, he should be the second most important person in marching season. He's like the stage manager of a Broadway play or something. After everything's done, he has control. He's the leader. And if you don't have a good, strong drum major, then it could hurt the band seriously.
So the drum major really does lead the band as they march?
Yes, in a sense. Sometimes bands don't watch a drum major until they get in trouble. But when they're in trouble, they certainly look on him then.
We want to say that riding in the first car, who's not on your screen now, is Jefferson W. Lewis Sr., the Washington, D.C. fire chief. And he was born in Winchester and attended Douglas High School. He worked his way up through the ranks from private all the way to D.C. fire chief. He was appointed to that position in March 19th of this year. And
following him is Gene Daly, who's the Winchester fire chief, of course.
He came to Winchester in 1975 as the city's first full-time paid fire chief. From nearby Front Royal, Virginia, the Randolph-Macon Academy Parade Unit. James M. Mills is the director. Drum major, Mark Puster. The Randolph-Macon Academy from Front Royal. This is a 1921 Dodge touring car, and riding in it is Congressman J. Kenneth Robinson, who represents the 7th Congressional District. He participated in the coronation ceremony of Queen Shenandoah 51st as the Queen's escort, standing in for Senator Harry F. Byrd, who was unable to participate in the coronation ceremony. Congressman Robinson always participates in the festival in some way or the other.
The Arundel Senior High School marching Wildcats from Gambrills, Maryland. Green and white and looking very sharp.
I might add, John, that some of the bands that passed before us last night, the Flags and Rifles, did not do a routine. Therefore, it's pretty hard on the judges to judge them on anything if they don't do anything, you see. It's important for them to do a routine so that they can be judged on something.
Of course, if the routine is not of very much originality,